All right, welcome in everyone. This is a very special reading. This is for the Lion's Gate, which is August 8th. And why it is called the Lion's Gate, which is a portal, is because we have it's always on 8/8, right? August 8th. This year is going to be particularly potent because it is considered an 8/8/8/8. So 4/8s are kind of supporting this portal energy. And the number 4 is also significant because when you have 4 is kind of represents grounding, support, stability, anchoring in energy. So it's almost like the 4 piece is anchoring in the 8 energy, which 8 also represents, if you put it on its side, is the infinity symbol. So it's like the infinite universal energy and the eternal flow of energy and flow. So why there's 4/8. So right, we have August 8th. We also have, if you add, so we have, this is 2026, right? So if you add 2 and 6, which is that 26, and that is 8. And if you add 8/8 and 2 and 6, which is the 2026 piece, if you add all that together, it also breaks down to 8. So that equals the 8/8/8/8 energy. So this reading is kind of picking up on this is taking place for the weekly reading, but we're really going to focus in because this is an intense portal of energy. And that is Friday, the 8th. So we're going to focus in on what is this week bringing, the energy of this 8/8 portal, and any information and guidance that is really imperative for the collective to be aware of when it comes to what is happening right here, right now. I'm going to talk a little bit about what Lionsgate specifically this year. This is information that I've channeled and also just general information that I've gathered and kind of what I really feel, again, intuitively resonated to what is really happening this year in particular. So I've talked a little bit about how leading up to July of 2026, July was the start of really starting to embody the frequency changes that we've made through the first half of the year. So that was just the kickoff. It's not like all of a sudden in July we're in full embodiment of 4th, 5th dimensional energies. It's really, we're starting to really embody this. And embodiment really stands for you are actually living what you're vibrationally at. So how you're interacting with the world, how you're showing up, your inner world is reflecting your outer world from a new vibrational kind of leveling up, right? We are always embodying, right? So no matter what our frequency is, however we show up in the world is going to reflect our inner world. It's going to reflect our frequency that we are vibrating at. But in the terms of the spiritual metaphysical space and also the ascension energies, when we start to say, hey, you're truly starting to embody these new higher vibrational frequencies, which are more aligned with 4th dimensions and higher. And when your frequency starts changing, which is always an inner job, right? It always starts inwardly and then represents itself outwardly in how you show up. And then as you show up differently into the physical world, that's when the physical world starts aligning with your new frequency and how you show up as well. So this term embodiment is really going to continue to show up strongly. So embodying new frequencies is going to, with this new portal energy opening up, is going to start to become more easy. It's going to be easier to embody the higher frequency energies. There's not going to be as like push and pull, because essentially as your frequency is shifting, right, it's kind of going up and down. You're expanding and contracting, which we're always, as long as we are a part of all that is, we're a part of the infinite universe, a part of the infinite all source, we're always, I mean, the very nature of the universe and source is to expand and contract. But the thing is, it's not going to be so such big contractions, right? It's going to start to be where we're not feeling that huge, dissonance. Also, things are going to, when it comes to perspectives, perspective is another key word here for the 8/8 portal in August in general. And doing the element readings for earth, water, fire, and air, a big theme of like big perspective shifts are happening in August, and they're going to be shifting quickly. We're going to continue to see awakenings happening, an increase of people awakening, and this whole thing of perspective, where perspectives can almost shift instantly. They can shift overnight. Your perspective, it's almost like, again, things just all of a sudden you see something differently. And you just kind of like, all of a sudden it's like, oh, I'm seeing something that I didn't before. And that obviously happens in one now moment in a shift. And then when your perspective change, you can't help but shifting how your embodiment, how you embody energy, how you embody that new perspective. And it's once your perspective shifts, it's really hard for you to continue to stay in certain vibrational energies. It's hard for you to stay, let's say, in an environment. Once you're seeing something, you can't unsee it, right? And when you're really seeing something for what it is, usually you're seeing through a filter, you're seeing through a distortion. And now when you see a distortion, you can't continue to pretend it's not there. And as well, your soul needed you to awaken to this. So once you're awakened to something, you can't go backwards. Okay. Another thing, I'm just looking here at what I channeled. There's going to be more coherence. So that's another term, coherence, where things start working together more easily. They start finding their rhythm together, where it's almost like the visual I saw was like the cogs of like a machine, right? We have all these cogs, we have all these wheels, and they're all put together so that if one cog turns, it triggers another to turn, and it's like everything moves in coherence with each other, and they're all built to make the whole machine function in harmony with ease and produce some sort of response, or there's some purpose, right, for this machine. We could see that as the human or the self or the soul. But when we come down into this 3D reality, there's a lot of density. We also are dealing with dense and higher frequencies at the same time. And that's not good or bad, right? It's not good or bad. And that's part of the perspective shift, right? Is realizing that what we consider bad and good, or, good and evil, or, just putting those judgments of like, this is bad, this is evil, this is, I don't want any of this. This doesn't belong. Push this away. Get rid of this. We're starting to realize that it all is a part of the whole essence of this reality, but also of source. So instead of saying this is evil, we start to see it as just another like perspective of the light. And it's just a dance. And the reflection of both the light and the dark are just that, mirroring each other in some way. And it's only when the two, the dark and the light, the dense and the higher frequencies, or the lower frequencies, come together in unity, when we can bring them all in and accept all, and that they are all a part of a whole, and they come together and integrate back into oneness. Or you could also refer to that as the void. The void, if you ever hear of the void, or even like I refer to like black holes as literally a void of, the frequency has integrated to where there is no dark or light. There is no polarity. And in that space is the most powerful space of transformation. And that is why in the dark hole, the black holes, is where you can literally portal in and out of different frequencies, dimensions, locations in the universe. And that is the most, it's like very powerful, a very powerful space. And you can say that the ultimate goal of the soul, of consciousness, is to come back into its state of oneness and void. So there's a lot there, but basically that coherence is things are going to start working together and things are going to happen more easily. So if you feel like there's been a lot of resistance in your life, or that, again, looking back at that metaphor of the machine and the cogs, all the different parts, it's like some parts are working and some aren't. So when that happens, the machine isn't moving forward. It's not expressing its purpose. It's not fulfilling. All the pieces aren't coming together. So again, it creates some sort of issues, right? It creates resistance. Things aren't moving forward. Change isn't happening. But we're going to start seeing that lighten and things work together more easily. Things are going to unfold easily. It's just that you're going to start seeing movement where it's like you didn't have to put an effort to make the movement. Like shifts are just going to naturally flow. So that is the Lionsgate portal. It's another intense portal of energy right now, moving us forward more into this, if you want to call it, higher dimensional, fourth, fifth dimensional experiences, but also like we could call it the new earth energy. The new earth is every single now moment of the next, trigger point or the next portal or the next frequency shift is just helping us to unfold the bigger picture more and for us to prepare another layer to be able to handle higher frequencies. So let's see, let's get into it. I have multiple card decks here I'm going to try and use. I have this new deck called, this is the Dreams of Gaia Tarot. It's a pretty complex deck. It is fairly new to me. I'm going to try and use it just because with the energies right now, like I'm using very higher dimensional decks right now because I just feel like that's where we're at. So I'm going to pull a couple first, the Starseed Oracle. Okay, fall into my arms, surrender, holding the opposites extremes of life. Yes. This is what I think I brought this up in some of the monthlies, but this is about surrendering and holding the opposites. I just talked about that, the light and the dark, being able to hold both. And there can for a lot of people seem very extremes, right? Because you can all of a sudden for a day or a couple days feel such strongly surrounded by these high vibrational energies and this intensity of light, of love, of gratitude, of peace, of expansion. And then all of a sudden, something can happen externally that's very dense in nature that really triggers you and you fall back into the very 3D dense energies. So, but this is about holding both, accepting both, not fighting the dense, which is mostly what we're going to do, or trying to consistently force yourself to be in the higher vibrational energies. And this is where we just need to surrender to it, because it's almost like we're trying to swim up tide, or we're trying to swim against the river, and we're learning we just need to let go, because we're reaching a point for a lot of people where they keep trying to swim up the river, or they keep trying to fight the darkness or fight the density within them or around them. And it's just tiring. It's stressful. It's tiring. It's impacting our souls, our minds, our emotions, our bodies. And it's like all of a sudden there's this just relief of just letting go. And that's what I see is we're learning, and what's triggering us to just, we're hitting a point where there's nothing else we can do but just to surrender. Lifting the veil, questioning everything, anything unaligned must go. Yeah, the veil is thinning even more, especially around the 8-8 portal. And when the veil lifts, it's almost like the distortion lifts. So you're going to start to see things differently, things that you didn't question before, or things that didn't seem odd. You're going to be like, wait, this is off, or this doesn't make sense anymore. Because like we're hitting a point, we're already past that for most people who are, again, ascending, is that anything unaligned must go. Anything that's not aligned with where you're going with this increase in frequency has to go. And I think I am seeing this happening around me in the external world, especially with people. People are fighting it. They're trying to hold on and maintain relationships. They're trying to hold on to belief systems, and they're trying to really justify why this belief system is real. A lot of people still are trying to fight to the death right now on belief systems, like truths that they're really, the universe is pushing to show them like, hey, that truth that you've been holding on to is actually a false belief, and it's actually harming you and the collective. Jobs, careers, like it runs the gamut right now. We are really being asked to step up in frequency, and we can't continue to be aligned with the old templates, the old concepts of marriage, of relationships, and even just daily routines. We need to start following what our soul's calling in every moment. And that's the complete opposite of what actually, what we've been programmed. We're kind of programmed to be robots. And you can tell people who are still really stuck in the unconscious programs tend to need to have more rigid routines. You'll notice that. And it's not calling these people out that they're bad, but it's just showing that, like, because when you're starting to shift vibrational frequencies, we're starting to realize, like, we can't continue to do the same thing over and over again, because that is the truth. That is the saying, is doing something over and over again is insanity. So we're really seeing that, like, that actually keeps us asleep. And it actually is because what aspect of us needs to have the routine and have the same thing over and over again is actually our fear. It's our fear running the show, because it's our fear needing the same thing over and over again to feel some sense of stability and safety. And that's why when you think of disorders like OCD or ADHD, this compulsion to need to check and to feel secure and safe, or this hyperactivity, I always need to be doing something, is actually escaping our fear. But it's also the fear trying to kind of cope with being in a reality that we don't feel good in. But actually the opposite to get out of that is true. We need to be able to feel at ease with the surrendering, right? With just going with the flow and letting, in every now moment, anything and everything can change, be possible. You just need to get those hits intuitively in every moment. Because for the most part, if we're following how we're supposed to truly be living, we would be doing something differently every day. Every morning would look different. You know, like we would eat at different times. It's all when our body tells us to. We're not going to go to and do the same thing, like go to the same job every single day. That's actually the definition of insanity. And that's why they keep us small and keep us controlled by putting us in jobs that we're just like robots, where we're doing the same thing over and over again. We're staring at a computer over and over again and doing the same tasks over and over. It actually shuts down our brain. It actually shuts down and keeps our DNA locked down. It's not opening up. It's not turning on more DNA. It's not helping us to expand how much capacity we're using in our brains and in our hearts. So let's keep going. Your life is a canvas, artist, manifestation, creative, accountability. This is also huge instant manifestation time. Synchronicities, I've noticed, definitely this is happening. Synchronicities are just happening so much faster, more frequently. Manifestations are happening more frequently, instantaneously. You probably have noticed things where you think of something and literally, it could even be minutes, where something comes in that is exactly what you were just thinking or wanting. So definitely be using that. And part of that is using our creativity, our inspiration to work with the external world. And that's, again, what we're here to do. And so definitely utilize, if you're inspired, whatever you're being called to do, especially when it comes to creativeness. All right. I'm going to pull a couple of the energy oracle. Door to personal healing and happiness. Yes, more is available. Integration here. I think this 8-8 portal is a doorway. It always has been. This one this year is more potent. We also, when we think of the Four of Wands in tarot, or the Four of Swords, it's anchoring in something that's healing or stabilizing in the external world or in our inner world. So this is where that door opening is helping to stabilize and bring in. Also, the number 8 is representative of abundance. And, you know, our work, our efforts paying off. It's about action. We're putting out an action and receiving something in return here. Man holding a coin. Yes, so physicality here. So this is about the manifestation becoming real in the physical world. And this is about people coming in as well, helping, bringing ease, flow, support. There's another theme this month about connection. I especially saw that with water signs, but there's a lot around connections. And this is going to be coming more and more of one of the most important things that we can do is, what are the connections? Because that is the very essence of humans and how we can co-create. We are not meant to come down here and do things alone. We're not meant to be solely independent. We are a species that has been designed to come together, and that's essentially what we mirror as so in the universe and source is when you bring more energy together, we can create more change and we can also do more and we have more power. But it's all about power with each other. How can we come together in connections and tribes and communities to create and help each other, support each other, and to build and make shifts in this reality? The garden and the gate, we're being set free here in this gated garden. This is about setting ourselves free. This is about, there's been a lot of contemplation in the inner self through the collective of people about going outside of the norm, going outside of their comfort zone, being called, being pulled to different places to do different things. And this is, again, there's 2 cards here about almost like a door or a gate opening. So I feel like this 8-8 portal is definitely like a key opening up a portal. And then we have this envy card. So what I see more with this envy card, you see in here, we have kind of a dark figure. He's in kind of a dark enclosed area, but there's another doorway here. So there's a theme here. There's another doorway, and through the doorway is a more desired dream space for this figure. But he seems like he's not stuck, which is interesting, right? It's not like this is closed off, it's open. But it's almost like because of his own fear, his own belief systems, there's something that where he either feels like he doesn't belong in that space, he's not worthy of it, or that it's what everyone else has. Like everyone else is out there or has this, and he's just peering through some distorted window or doorway, but all he has to do is walk over there. And maybe he just too, again, because he's so dark, I feel like there's this sense of, there's an unconscious belief that feels like you cannot have that, or you're not good enough for that, or you won't belong. And that's where this envy comes in. These feelings of envy or jealousy is that everyone else has something that you feel like you aren't either worth it, or again, that you can't have because of XYZ, right? Because I won't belong, or that if I try to be a part of that group, or I'll never be able, I'm not smart enough, I don't have enough money. But these are all programs, again, that's been implanted in the human species to keep us from not seeing our true power, our true potential. And again, we're going to start seeing those. We're already seeing that break down, but we're going to shift the perspectives, and we're going to start seeing that how things work together, how our belief systems have been holding us back. All right, let's start with some Gaia Oracle. We have masculine and feminine energy here. This is fire energy. And this is, again, the unification, the integration of the feminine and masculine. And again, the masculine and feminine are just representations of polarity, of two aspects of the whole that need each other. The dark and light need each other. We can't remove the dark, or we can't remove, let's say, the masculine and think that we're going to be in harmony. And that's again, the mirror of the self. And we're seeing that in our species. The more we push hold down, let's say, the feminine, the more it's going to imbalance everyone, especially the masculine. Healing. Okay, so this has come up. I thought there was another. Yeah, we do have healing twice here. And on this healing card, we have these frogs, which represent transformation as well. Regeneration. Transforming from one form to another. And we're growing, we're evolving here. And it's through that evolution, we gain wisdom, we change form. And this is what that integration of energy is helping us do to come more into balance. And it's through the balancing of the masculine and feminine. Desire. This is about really using our desire in a form, in a way that we can, again, transform from a higher vibrational perspective. Because desire has been used as a form of distortion and deception. They have distorted our desires, our religions, the people in power over centuries, over thousands of years, because our desire is actually a key. It is one of the most important keys that we have been gifted as a species. This is what you can say God-given or source-given has provided us to navigate this world, to create our heaven on earth. And this is a truth that we're coming into perspective, and we're seeing through the distortion that desire is not bad. Desire is actually key, and it's fundamental to our power and to our very core essence of our divine selves. And now we're able to see our desires not as bad things. We're not pushing down our desires. We're actually coming into union with our desires. And we're actually using our desires and using them as a compass. And we're actually, experiencing things in the physical that we desire to experience, and they are not bad. So there's a shift here, and that's where the healing comes in. Because when we start to heal those distorted beliefs, the distorted relationship with our desires, especially when it comes to like sexual desires. It is the natural essence of the human, and actually the sexual energy is the most highest vibrational energy that we can actually express and co-create with another being or even ourselves. And we can use that energy to actually manifest and to co-create. But guess what? When people distort it and shut it down and tell us desires are bad, especially sexual desires, what happens is we repress our desires. And that's what creates dis-ease, whether mentally, sexually, physically. And then what happens is when we repress our natural instincts, our natural energy, what happens is then they get expressed in a very distorted, unhealthy, violent ways that hurt others and hurt ourselves. And that is why we have these actions that we consider evil, actions that people are doing or expressing in the world that are very what we would call evil expressions, where they're hurting other people. It is because that person's has been so distorted from the moment they were born in some way that again, there was a distortion there. But let's keep going. Okay, so this is an earth, and we have the 8 of Pentacles here. The child, yes, this is becoming more, this is what's interesting. The more we heal and integrate, and actually the wiser we become, the more higher vibrational we become. We actually, this is the whole concept of becoming younger, or the fountain of youth. Actually, the more higher vibrational we become, the more wise we become, we actually age less. And we connect more back to our inner child. We connect back more to innocence and approaching life with curiosity and adventure and fun and intrigue and excitement. And that is what's coming back online too for us as we start coming into more alignment here. And then we have the King of Wands. This is our power. This is our confidence. This is our realizing that we have the power to work with energy to then manifest physically. And that is what fire energy is, and especially the King of Fire. The King of Fire is using his, again, source. He's creating his ideas, his inspirations. He is working with his creative energies to create businesses, to manifest things in the physical. And so this is beautiful energy. And this is, again, we have the 8. The 8 came out. So that just hit me. Took me a little bit there, but 8 of Pentacles. So this again is about our actions, how we're working with our energy and creating abundance. We're creating wealth. We're building something here to support us to, again, it's about when we work, right? We're expressing ourselves in the physical with our hands, with our mind. We're, working on projects, whatever it is, but it's all about doing stuff to create something in the physical. But now we're doing it from a place of a pure connection place with these 2 cards, the Child and the King of Fire, to actually now we have to come into harmony. This is interesting. We're using each one of these cards as a piece of the puzzle are coming together. And when these all lock in place and we have the awareness of this, we shift perspective. And now this is the whole wheel of embodiment to me. We're also healing the inner child parts of us as well. Wow, I just noticed that. This is huge. So this is the whole, right? This is the circle. This is the whole essence of each one of us, which can also represent all that is. And it's these things that are going to be really coming together with this 8/8 portal, that now we're going to be able to heal. We're going to be able to open new doors and create new things to free us. Wow. This is big. I love how readings come together. That's why I do love using tools like this to bring forth ideas and messages and guidance. All right, guys, I'm going to leave you with that. You have an amazing week. Take care. Take advantage of this energy. And no matter what comes in, what was the card? Yeah, surrendering, holding the opposites, allowing all of it this week. Okay? I will see you in the next reading. Bye for now.